Hey everybody, welcome back to another week of art. Last week I talked a lot about op art and how Bridget Riley would create artworks that make our minds bend, and she was making things that looked 3D when in reality they were not, these optical illusions. This past week I also showed you a new artist named Darel Carey, and he is an installation artist. That means that his artwork oftentimes will take up an entire room. He does a lot of his artwork in tape, these long black straight lines, similar to Bridget Riley, but notice how all of his lines follow really closely to the line right next to them. We call these contour lines, or a line that follows the path of another line. This week, we're going to be kind of looking at that style of mark making, and we're going to try it out for ourselves on paper and see what we come up with. If you followed this type of mark making, concentric shapes and contour lines, we end up getting something really interesting to look at. So there's a few steps to remember. I'm going to show you right now. Let's get started. Okay, so for this week, all you're going to really need is one sheet of paper and something to color with. This could be colored pencils, markers, or crayons. We are going to start by folding our paper in half, hamburger style, the short end to the short end, making a super nice tight crease. So we're going to first start with contour lines. Again, contour lines are lines that follow the path of another line. So I'm going to actually start with one color, and I'm going to, up near the top here, I'm going to make my line go from here to here in really whatever form that I want. It can take some angles, it can make some humps, but I want to make sure that it's not too crazy and I don't do it too fast. Let's start with this blue line right here. I'm gonna not quite touch the edge of the paper, but I'm gonna get pretty close. And I'm just gonna do something kind of zigzaggy. Okay, so from right here, I'm gonna leave this one be, and I'm gonna create, let's see if I can do one, two, I'm gonna do two more down the paper. I'm gonna choose green for this one. Maybe something a little different. Okay, and my last one, I'm gonna do orange. All right, so here I've got three really different lines. I'm gonna keep the same colors with those lines and make sets of 5 contour lines really close to them. So I'm gonna take my blue marker, and just above my blue line, I'm gonna move up just a teeny tiny little bit, and I'm gonna follow this line with my marker line. We're gonna create a contour line, or a line that follows it super close. So watch what I do. We want to get almost as close as we can without touching. I'm going to make another one right on the underside of that line. Did you notice how I was moving the paper? It's most comfortable for me to make straight lines by moving my hand away from myself. So instead of pulling my hand towards myself, then away, then towards myself, then away, I like to work with the paper, and so that keeps my hand moving in the same direction at all times. So let's keep going. I'm gonna do 2 more contour lines with this line shape. All right, there we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 contour lines in this one. Now this paper is gonna start to fill up pretty quick, so let's start with these shapes, and we're gonna actually add a few more in between. So I'm gonna do the same thing to my green and to my orange. So sometimes you might get to a point here where if I brought my line all the way in here, it'd be really hard to get it out without the line touching itself. So I'm actually going to just continue my line going this way, finish off the set. Then I'm going to come back into here and kind of fill in that area just like that. All right, now I'm going to go to my orange. All right, we've got all 5 lines from each set. 1, 2, 3 different sets here. I'm actually gonna make just a few more lines in between these ones, and I'll show you what we do when they start to overlap. So pick some new colors. I'm gonna do a red. Let's see, maybe mine's gonna start like something like this. Now this is gonna get kind of tricky because these things are all getting really close to each other. Let's see what happens. Now right here, it looks like I can't really go around or through that little space without hitting the green. So I'm just gonna let my line hit the green and stop. And then I'm gonna continue it over here, just like pretending that the green is in front of that red. Just like that. Same thing with this area where it's gonna touch the blue. Hit the blue, jump, go right on over. All right, this is starting to look really interesting. I'm gonna see if I can squeeze just a couple more lines right in here to complete the entire set. Okay, so I've completed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different line sets. And if you want to continue any of these to be more than just 5 lines, you absolutely may. In fact, if you do, some really interesting things start to happen. Now, I wouldn't call this quite an optical illusion, but this is just an example of the really interesting things that can happen if you create using contour lines. We're going to talk about concentric shapes next time, but for this week, I just want you to practice this style. And another neat thing about this style of artwork is this is something that's very meditative, and you can kind of get into a little trance while you do it. It's very, very relaxing. So sometimes when I find myself not really knowing what to draw, if I want to sit down and sketch, sometimes I just start by doing some contour lines and seeing what develops out of them, because some shapes occur that we don't even see coming. So I hope you find this a relaxing art activity. Maybe turn on some music while you do it, or listen to some kind of book on tape. That's usually what I like to do when I do drawings like this. I look forward to seeing what you create, Van Heist. I bet it's gonna be awesome. Make sure to send me a photo when you are completed. Have a great week.